this new series where I share thoughts and experiences from my daily meditation. This morning, I pondered a bit in bed before eventually being nudged in the right way to get out of bed. Beautiful time, a cup of coffee, sort of preparing myself for TM meditation. The intentionality that I was led to do for this was placing a circular light behind my head with two light pillars essentially. To my left is the brass door that carries some things inside. To my right left, I placed the brass bowl that contained a magnet, monetary notes, coins, cinnamon stick as well. And to my right, I placed a tree. This feng shui tree is made of amethyst. Interestingly enough, last night in a dream, I did see an aspect of me as a tree of sunsets, a tree connected went into meditation. It was not my typical TM meditation. Although I used the typical techniques that I typically use, the mantra and things like that, at different points, I felt certain awareness thoughts coming to me, one of which was speaking on how, speaking on a few things, one, generosity, and another was how there are so many people out there waiting to experience the creativity, waiting to experience the creation, waiting to experience the companies, waiting to experience the buildings, waiting to experience my generosity into the world, into this earth. Waiting to give back some form of energy to me as I give to the world as well. And a practical example to think about this, to simulate this, is, and I saw myself doing this in energized during my meditation. Speaking of the generosity, before I get to the generosity, there were points during my meditation, and sometimes it happens where my body on its own, particularly my neck, pushes up, and I feel myself connecting upwards, let's put it that way. And sometimes I find myself doing that for about a minute or so until it starts feeling a bit uncomfortable. And this time, while doing it, as it was feeling uncomfortable, I decided at that point, perhaps I meant to push forward, even though I'm feeling this discomfort. Perhaps I meant to allow this discomfort and push through to the next inertia, if I can use that language here. And as I was doing that, the thought then came to me that you don't have to do that. You don't have to force. However, if you feel the only way you can receive is to exert force, then perhaps that law, perhaps that dogma will be realigned and applied to you. On the flip end, if you feel you don't have to make yourself uncomfortable, staying in that neck position and pushing through as it becomes more comfortable, thinking I need to use this point to continuously push through, and that applies. However, if you do feel that once it feels uncomfortable, that is a sign from body, from spirit, from mind, that that is enough. Move on to the next point, or bring yourself your neck back. You don't need to do any more. You have done your part at that point. You have done it at that point. If you believe that is the sign to do that, that is the sign to stop exerting force. And it is done, and so it is. That law will suffice. On generosity, it came to me in meditation that there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions of people being animated, waiting to experience, to receive the generosity that will flow through me, that will flow through you into this world. And as that came to me during meditation, I started seeing animations, avatars appearing in the multitude, all around me, all ahead of me, all in front of me. And then I saw the globe, the world, Earth, and how the people, their energies, all of them were being fed to me, and how my generosity was being fed to them as well. Through my acts, through checks that I sign, through buildings that I bring forth, through words that I say, through leaders that I meet with, through thoughts that I spark, through visions that I bring into reality, through events, soirees, parties, gatherings that I selectively bring together, through cleaners, through drivers, through nurses, through doctors, through lawyers, through all sorts of people, black, white, Chinese, Singaporean, Indian, Nordic, wherever they are, however form they animate us, whatever activity they choose, my generosity, my energy passing, being shared to them receiving it, them benefiting from it, through their feeling, through their thoughts, through, and most importantly, them looking within. And that's what I felt at that moment. That is what I heard at that moment as I was in mind, in meditation, saying all of these aspect ratios. The most important one was them looking within to themselves. Because as the I am, that is I, that is speaking through, that is expressing through, that is watching, that is experiencing, that is reviewing in all the lenses, through the eyes that I speak through the eyes of others as well, that I see, that I touch, that I'm aware of, that I'm not aware of. They as well are the I am. Looking back, speaking back, being back. And it comes back to the circle. You start at the point where you are, where I am, and going round and round and round. Now it comes back to life. Countless scenarios where I experienced this. And even as I came out of meditation, eventually got my phone. Was then searching for an old photograph of myself and an aunt who is late to send to a group chat as I was searching through archives, came across different photographs, different past events that I had experienced, and one of which was a photograph of me visiting my childhood street, my childhood home, just driving past and going on that street. And I noticed this tall, about 200-foot royal palm tree. And I then pondered at that moment. I know this tree, there have been multiple of these trees surrounding me here. And I remember them growing up. And these trees just uprooted and planted here in their vast height. And then it then came to me, I then thought, oh, I started small. And then I calculated the amount of years having grown up there, and the year marker, which brought it to about 27 years at that point. Then I realized it took 27 years for that over 200-foot royal palm tree to become that tall, to become that grand. However, at every moment, even with memory at that point growing up there, at every moment it felt and it looked very tall, it looked very grand. And the lens that I then used to look at the architecture around, to look at the tree itself, then wondered, the awareness I have now, the knowledge that I have now, has caused me to look and experience that photograph, that memory, the building, the street, in such a different lens. And it reminded me of the saying, in such an evolved lens, due to the level of awareness that I have. And it caused me to as well notice different aspects of events that I perhaps previously not noticed before. And then a saying that I mentioned to friends before, as memory came, that knowledge meets you at the level of your awareness. And a practical example is a particular sentence of the words can mean the same thing, can mean different things to different people depending on the lens in which they look, depending on the level of their awareness, depending on your belief systems, depending on, to an extent, what they expect out of life. And in doing all of this, as I found that photograph, I eventually uploaded it as a bit of a throwback on my Instagram, and including some words just about the thought that was sparked in posting a picture. And before even doing so, I perhaps felt myself really thinking and perhaps sending energy towards that past self. And I then found myself calling back that energy of that past experience that was animated, bringing that energy forth and feeding it to what is being animated by me, through me, for me, that I am yet, and that I am experiencing currently. It was a conscious effort at that point to realize not to ponder too much on the past, as it felt as though energy was going behind and energy needs to flow forward. So directing that energy to flow forward in animating, in creating, in lighting, in growing, in feeding, in brightening, in shining, in sparkling. What it is that is here, what it is that is ahead. And at that very moment as well, I placed awareness with my eyes open all around in the living room as I was awoken from that point to be present in the now, to enjoy the now, enjoying all of the beauty that already surrounds me. The chair I was sitting in, the coffee that I was sipping from, the light that was behind my head, the surrounding of the orchids, the flowers that you see behind me here, the paintings, the art, the thoughts and the awareness all around me, all that I feel, all that I know to be true. All of which then led me to my pantry, different activities that happened at that point. We got to my pantry and I saw first there was a bit of a smell there, and then I realized what that stench was coming from. I realized I had placed it there months ago, and it then made me realize that it was serving a purpose of not aiding the energy there to be stopped, for the energy to move. I wondered for a moment, should I throw this away? But what should I do with it? And it also reminded me of the feeling of, let me call it, somewhat confusion at that point. And I've now come to realize it means a no. And this no could be not to do what you're intending to do with it, that it does require nothing, or requires another use. And when I remembered that at that point, then I realized, I have this other closet with so many other clothes there during this transitionary period of winter, spring into summer. So I decided to put it in there to ensure stock energy there was flowing, was moving, and not stagnant. And in doing so, I was led here in front of the camera this moment. I thought to record myself out here. Place a light in front of you. Screw light that, interestingly enough, had caused uneasiness with some of my plants. However, now, realizing the same or similar ethos to what I was going to do with that energy moving device, if I can call it that way, that was in my pantry that I then moved, but was going to throw away. As this lamp, I perhaps thought about throwing it away and realizing of what use would it ever bring, of what value, of what benefit. However, I'm seated here now and this light is projecting through and shining. And shining. And of value. And I thought to share my words to myself, share my words to you who's watching, share my words to myself infinitely. As a reflection of my awareness, as gratitude. Interestingly enough, I thought to, at the moment that I did want to share, I thought about messaging or calling a friend or making this video. in its multiple iterations, in its angular aspect ratio changing and viewing, and also in me seated even before speaking and simply watching myself and realizing and experiencing the energetic sense, the life force sense that I had previously experienced with some others that I was yet to understand. But then it emanated from me and me experiencing it while here. I found profound. I found beautiful. So I do this video without fully understanding where doing this is leading me to, has led me to, will lead me to. However, I do this with a smile. And knowing to trust. Knowing to trust what is animating. Knowing to trust what is shining through me, at me, and all around me.